Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Dan loves to chat, a name that I still can't stand. On today's episode, I have Jen Shorr, who owns, a great friend of mine, who owns a bar with dancing called Joyface in the East Village of Manhattan, and also High Lot, a cocktail bar next door. Joyface has been open for about 7 years now and is one of the busiest bars, nightclubs, dance bars in the city. And it's also been busy consistently over that time. And I think what's so interesting about it is they don't do this typical bro bottle service, fancy champagne thing. It's meant to be this house party. It's still tough to get in, but they promote this kind dance culture. It's a really wonderful place to go. And I am curious to talk to Jen about how she promotes good hospitality in a space that's typically kind of gross, and a wonderful community experience. And I hope you enjoy this episode with Jen Shorr. Jen Shorr, thank you for coming on. I love you. I love your establishment. I would love for, can we just quickly, let's go through a little origin story. How did Joyface come to be?
Well, my first apartment in New York was in the building that Joyface is in. And I was on the 5th floor walk up of that apartment, and there was another bar in that space that I didn't like. I never went there. It played terrible music, and there was always I remember there was a guy peeing outside on the wall, and I just was like, this place is gross, but it's such a great corner, and I could tell that in the future that block and corner was only getting better and better, and I always wanted to open something there. And my first thought was, I want to open a bagel shop bar because that's a terrible idea, but because my dad owns bagel shops, so I thought, I don't know, I just thought I would know how to do that.
And what were you doing in life at the time?
Just making my parents nervous, not figuring it out.
Really?
I was in LA, I was an assistant for a while in production, and then was literally working at my dad's bagel shop. I helped him open another one and was working at the register and just doing odd jobs here and there.
Where are these bagel shops?
In Jersey.
In Jersey.
Yeah.
And they're good, right?
Yeah, they're real good.
What are they called?
Bagel Emporium.
And how many of them are there? How many bagel emporiums?
There's 2 now.
But he's super passionate about bagels, right?
My family's a deli family. I grew up with, for 80 years, they had a kosher deli that closed during COVID, but that's the environment I grew up in. So it's nothing to do with alcohol and nightlife, but the food, the hospitality aspect was there.
Okay, so why? So you were above.
So I was above the space. I knew that it was going to be. I knew I wanted to do something in that corner, and so after I moved out, I kept in touch with the landlord. And every 6 months to a year, I would text the landlord even after I moved out and be like, "Hey, is that space available yet?" And he would be like, "No." And I would check in about every 6 months until finally 4 years later, when I checked in, he was like, "Actually, yeah."
Really?
Yeah. I knew always all along that I wanted the place, even when I thought it was going to be a bagel shop and bar. But I always wanted a place that just plays disco and oldies music, nothing new, so that you can go with your parents, with different generations. And, it's hard to, the only time you can really party for a long period of time with your parents or sing and dance with them is at a wedding or a bar mitzvah. If you go to a club eventually, then they're going to be like, this music is terrible, I have to leave. And so
that was always, the thing that you wanted before you even knew what the place was?
Yes.
The idea of partying with your parents?
Yes. The music aspect and the cross-generational aspect to it.
The theme of it came before the actual business. You just wanted a place where people would
technically
party with their
the space came first,
right.
Which it's all, there's no right or wrong way to do things. I think sometimes people that have the whole concept flushed out and then start looking for a place, they're then forcing it into a space that may not be good for that. Yeah. So that's not good. So I find working backwards is better. You find the space and then see what you think would be good for that space.
Well, we're getting way ahead, but I actually do think it's really important. I do think that it's so important to have a guiding thesis, because then you always know if you're making the right decision. If you just constantly even with this podcast, which is ridiculous or whatever, but I'm I want to talk, I want to have the conversations that I want to have.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to go to a place that didn't exist.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to a place that only played oldies and disco, and not just one oldie song and then back into house and rap and cool beats and techno. Like I want it to strictly be that.
Okay, so you get the space, and then like, how do you?
It takes almost 2 whole years, because everything takes, like when someone's opening a place and they say when it's opening, I'm always like, okay, well, you should add like 6 months to your opening date.
Right.
That's probably when it's going to be. But
this was your first time dealing with like the liquor board, dealing with like.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you'd never leased anything on your own, even, right? Like, so this was all completely new.
Yes. It all is difficult, but there's no right or wrong way to do all this stuff. And so, people do it every day. I mean, I think the biggest thing you should be concerned about is not renting a place where the rent is too high, because then no matter how busy you are, you're dead. You're not DOA. Yeah. But everything else you kind of just figure out as you go, and the more problems that go wrong, the more like you learn to fix them.
And so you brought in a designer. What were some things that came up as you were building out the space?
So I just told her I wanted a 70s living room basement that didn't feel like a bar, that was going to play oldies and disco. Those were my requirements.
And at this point, were you thinking more of a bar or a nightclub?
Well, I always said it was going to be.
You're very dancey.
It's a bar with dancing. It's not either. It's a disco. I always wanted it to have dancing, but I never thought of it as a club. I mean, it's evolved that way, but it's really still just a bar with dancing, or I would describe it as a disco, not like a traditional nightclub with bottle service and sparklers and tables.
Do you ever dance?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
Nice.
Not too often, but sometimes if I'm with my friends, or if it's like New Year's or Halloween, or.
I feel like that's like a unicorn moment in there, seeing you dance.
Yeah, because
lot has to be going right for you to dance.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're building it out. It's going to be a bar with dancing. What happened on the first day? Like, how did you even get people there? Like,
so the one thing I did do before I opened the bar in my life is, even though I didn't accomplish much professionally, I made a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. I've throughout my life made lots of great relationships with people and all over. And so all my friends, regardless if the bar was going to be good or bad, were going to at least show up once, or at least send people once, just because they're my friend. And then once they send people, if they like it, then then they just keep coming back. So in the very beginning, a couple of my friends threw birthday parties right away, and then they brought in a bunch of people, and then those people brought in people, and people brought in people, and then they brought in people, and then they sent someone, and it slowly went. I hate to say the word organic because it sounds so like cringy, but like it really did happen that way. I didn't do any PR or marketing or any of that. It was just people came, people had fun. They came back.
Can you explain the name Joyface?
So my mom's name is Joy. She's great. She's wonderful. She's always happy. You would love her. She's really great. And her nickname is Joyface. And so it's called Joyface. And that's also kind of how it all became a place that you want to be with your parents and bring your parents and hang out, party with your mom and dad. Or
it's a lot of pressure on you to name a place.
I did think that in the beginning, like, oh no, what if it fails? And then it's like,
or sucks.
Well,
or it turns into a bro haven.
Well, that I knew it would close before that. It wouldn't. Yeah. It was never going to be a bro haven.
Hinge date headquarters.
No, but I do love hearing when people meet there or had their first date there. Like I have an engagement party coming up and they met there. So like I love hearing that. It's so nice. It's also the type of place where, because people are like, oh, is it a gay bar? Or it's a straight bar. There's too many of this, too many of that. It's not anything. It's for everyone. And you can go, a group of friends can go that's, gay, straight, bi, trans, whatever, and then everyone can kind of all go together and I'll probably find someone to hook up with.
Wow. I never have.
Didn't happen for you?
No, but look, I'm not, I don't know. You're being classically like sort of humble about you never did anything before, but like the place is a wild success. So like it must have been, if you never did anything before.
I know how to throw a party.
Yeah.
And I know what makes a good party. The thing I know the least about is alcohol.
Sure.
But I just hired people that that do. But
Okay.
everything else, the music, the vibe, the energy, the marketing, the what people should be in there and what makes a good party and a good room and how to like build that room of the right people that are going to make friends with each other. That part I felt very qualified in. Like I was thinking about it strictly in music and vibes and people before anything else.
And then going back and figuring, and you're just smart enough to figure out the rest of the stuff along the way.
Yeah, all of it is, a lot of trial and error, but I think sticking to my guns about the music, which in the beginning, a lot of people still tell me that like it's not going to work or you can't do that the whole time. People are going to get sick of it. DJs did not like, I had to fire DJs on the spot because they just wouldn't play what I wanted them to play. They would
really
veer off because I gave them a very strict parameters of the time, like not what to play, but like the years. I wouldn't let them play anything new. And some of them would just veer off because they would think I just meant like most of it. And then they would kind of take it upon themselves and they would be like, no, trust me, I've been doing this a long time. And I was like, okay, but like, that's what we're doing here. You're a great DJ, but that's not what, like, I don't need a cool DJ. I need just a DJ that's going to play what the people want to hear and what I wanted to have there.
So what were, in the first few months, so like what were the biggest things that you learned or that you overcame? I mean, are we talking about like people puking? Are we talking about like dealing with the line outside? Are we talking about like restriction, like government related stuff?
Yeah, the more problems, the busier we got, the more problems I've had.
Sure.
So COVID was the hardest thing to deal with because I was closed for almost 2 years. And I didn't think I would be back open. Like during COVID, I thought I was like, well, glad I figured this out for a year. Like I remember January after I'd been open a year, it started to get like really popular. And in January, February, March 2020, I remember in the beginning of March, I had like my busiest Saturday ever on March 7th or whatever that. And then the following Saturday we were closed. And then I was closed for basically almost a year and a half. And then when we reopened, it didn't really matter because the city had a law that said you had to be closed at 10 p.m., which that's when we get started. So we were basically closed. No one, I mean, we would open from like 7 to 10, but no one, it's a nighttime place.
And what about as you were just starting to get busy? Like what was
you hire people, like I was doing the dishes in the very, very beginning, and then it's like, okay, we need someone to do this all the time. Or the very first couple weeks in, the door there was one night where the door felt like, oh my God, there's so many people. I need help like sorting through these people. Cause I had just one guy checking IDs, but, one of our patrons, Z, I don't know if you remember him. He was just there hanging out. And then I was like, come help me at the door because I need help right now. And then he was the door guy for 6 years.
I see you walking around in there whenever I've been in there, and you do the same thing I do, which is like where I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'm projecting, but where you try to experience the place from the different places. Whenever I used to produce comedy shows, I would constantly walk around the whole show and feel what the experience was like in the different seats. And like that's how I could tell that the speakers weren't loud enough or the speakers were too loud or the lighting looked wrong from a certain place.
Totally.
And also, like, I would shush people who were, like, when there was an area where people were talking, I would shush people. It's constantly putting yourself in the shoes of the person experiencing the place. I think you do that a lot. I mean, and it makes it look like when you're walking around, you're kind of, like, looking serious, just like...
But people usually don't know. I mean, if they know me, sure.
No, they don't know you. I mean...
Because I'm not, like, a huge guy in a black suit walking through the bar. No one knows I work there. I just look like someone that's there. So it's easy to... kind of blend in and really hear what people are saying or talking about.
And what are you listening for?
Just making sure everyone's having a good time, making sure someone's not too drunk, making sure there's no guys I need to kick out because they're being, obnoxious or, fight. Just
or women.
Yeah, not as much.
But are you like, so you're just constantly sort of vibe checking
I'm
the room?
Mostly at the door.
Right.
I mostly stand close to the front door because outside the door is where I feel the most. That's what makes or break. Like, I know inside is going to be good as long as we make the right decisions outside.
Huh. So in the first year when you were starting to get busy, were there any changes you made? Like, were there any things you implemented that turned out to be wrong?
I was very surprised in the very beginning. Something I didn't think about was how many glasses break. So there was one night early on where all of a sudden someone was trying to order their drink and there was no more glasses. And I looked at like the busboy. I'm like, where are all the glasses? And we went out to look for, and there was none. And I was like, oh, I guess they break really fast. So we have to constantly buy more glasses. Right. And then we eventually switched to like ones that didn't break as easily. I mean, I still have glass. I'm not going to plastic. I know a lot of big clubs do plastic, and I understand why, but we don't do that. Interesting.
What are other things like that you didn't think about?
Just how many people would be outside trying to get in because
let's talk about
city
that.
And the community board doesn't let you have people outside, and it just gets tricky because, obviously I want people to come, and then you tell people that there's no room or they can't go in, and then they don't leave. They just stand there, and then I have,
and they get mad.
Kids, yeah.
How do you curate the door to make the nightclub or the nightlife experience great for the people inside?
The most important, above all the other things that I'll mention, is age. I want as old as possible. Older people are better, and just being nice. Like, obviously we care what they're wearing, or if they're rude, or if they're a large group, then it's really hard. If someone's like 20 people and then I'm like, I don't have room for 20 people, and then they get really pissy, it's just like, come back with 4 people. I don't know what to tell you. But I think it's also not how I think other places do it, where they're looking for like, the hottest people or the people with the most followers, or like just stuff that typically places look for, where I care more about like a group of like dorky nurses that are kind of intimidated by the line, and they're kind of step back and they're about to leave, and I'm just like, oh, you guys come on in. So it's like a mix of all different types of people from all different places, with all different jobs, all different ages, and then obviously like as diverse as possible. And we want people to look cool and nice and interesting, not, I don't want boys in sports jerseys and baseball hats and bros and, none of that, obviously. But so if you wear something really cool or shiny or interesting, yeah, you're going to get at least spoken to. But if that person is really rude, they're still not getting in. And if you're not necessarily wearing the coolest outfit, but you're really nice, then sure.
And how do you empower the people who are running it when you're not there to make the right decisions?
You can't control it all the time, but I would like to think that over time, after you do it for a while, they see what you want, what works, what doesn't work. I mean, they know. We have a rule since we opened, that's if you bring your mom, you get to cut the line, or you get right in, no questions asked. So any given night, we have maybe 5 to 10 sets of parents or moms in there that kids know that they can get in because they bring them. So when their parents are in town visiting, they bring them. So as soon as someone's like, we got a mom, and then security's like, we got a mom, move out of the way, and then they walk them in. But people really do that all the time, to the point where now it's starting to get abused, because usually, it was like 2-3 people and a mom, or like 9 people and 2 moms. But now I have like 1 mom and 12 kids, and I'm like, you need more moms. Like, I can't have all of you. And people message me all the time being like, my mom was here when she was visiting. It was the best night ever. She still talks about it. She still asks me about it. She keeps asking me when we can go back. So that part's nice.
When you opened this thing, did you realize that an element of it would be that people would be angry at you constantly?
Not in the way that the younger generation is, because when I used to go out and go to places that were hard to get into, and if you didn't get in, first of all, you were embarrassed. Kids now are not embarrassed. No shame. No, they're never embarrassed. So if you didn't get in somewhere, you quickly put your head down and walked away, because you didn't want anyone else to see that you didn't get in, and you wanted to come back and get in next time. So you obviously don't want to berate the person that just told you no. You want to be nice and polite and leave and try back next time with, I don't know, better outfit, better people. I don't know. You just try again. Here, they just go crazy. Like they've never been told no in their life. Like they can't even fathom how it's possible to be told no.
One of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life is like, do you know who my father is? Like, I didn't realize, I thought that was like a cliche, like even a joke.
Yeah.
But like,
it does happen.
I don't go out very much anymore, but I've been in lines where people will say, do you know who my father is, when they don't get into a club.
I get a lot, my father's a lawyer, they're going to sue you. And they're like videotaping and they're wasted. So all I'm thinking is, God, when they watch this video tomorrow, they're going to be like, oops, because
or maybe
they're
they won't.
Screaming drunk and then screaming about their dad being a lawyer and they're going to sue us. But it's like, for what? Like, you're too drunk to come in anyway. Like,
obviously in a perfect world, no one would have any idea that you were associated with the bar, right?
It gets harder and harder now because more people know me, and so many of our customers come back over and over and over again. But there's often where they don't, so they're just yelling at me like I'm just like, some other person that works the door.
Right.
Or they'll say to my face that Jen told me that she can come. One person was like, I'm Jen's cousin, and like to my face. And I was like, okay, why don't you call her?
Yeah.
So
wow,
that's happened. One person said that they started naming the LLC name, being like, I'm an investor. And like, they just Googled what the LLC is and started rattling it off. And it's like people say weird stuff.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so crazy.
I get a lot of like, Jen, my cousin. Or like, someone will be like, I went to kindergarten with your brother. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And usually it's fine. Like, if they're nice and they're not lying, then yeah, they're going to get in. But if you're like, Jet's my cousin and you're not, that's weird.
Was it challenging for you to like deal with people yelling at you at first, or like kind of hating you?
In the very beginning, at this point, I'm immune to that because people that would do that just makes me confident that I made the right decision to say no, because I don't want that type of person inside, where if you say no and someone starts screaming at you and calling you crazy names, obviously that person shouldn't be inside the bar.
Right.
Like, if
it's almost a win.
If they're really nice about it, and like, then I'll like, tell them to send me a message next time, and then they'll come back and then they'll get in. Like, if you start screaming at someone, like, that's so weird.
Yeah.
Especially, or they'll be like, you just lost so much business.
Yeah. What are some things like I know you don't go out very much to other places, but like, what are some things that other nightlife institutions do that you think are not like sort of good hospitality?
I don't really go out very much, but I wouldn't say not good hospitality, just they're different. Like, there's different places for people that like different things. I do think that almost all bars and clubs are owned by like 5 dudes. And so the importance they place on just like letting in young hot girls trumps everything else. Or they'll just kind of follow the advice of whoever the highest paying customer is saying that what they want, and they'll just do it because some rich guy's telling them that they want something. Where like, if someone asks me to play a song that's not an old song, I just say no. Even if it's someone, super famous or something, I'll still like say no. I'm not going to be like...
Right. Have a sense of, have a point of view and follow your sensibility. Yeah. That's so interesting. So that, I guess, gets to like, do you think that often nightlife institutions would like be quickly susceptible to earning a quick buck?
Yes, of course. I mean,
like, have you in early days, were you ever really slow and there was a group of like jerk offs outside and there was no one in the bar and you could tell they were going to spend a bunch of money, but you were like...
No, if anything, early on, definitely not. I feel like, because I was, I'm still concerned with the vibe, but I was so protective of the vibe in the first couple of years.
That you would die first?
I would definitely not. Like, I feel like one time I did do it, and then we had to kick them out. And I gave them the money back. I was like, get out. Because, like, exactly what you think. They're just, it's not about that. Because you need the vibe of the room to be fun in order for everyone else to have fun. So if surrounding the room, there's just a bunch of, like, douchey rich guys, no one's going to want to be in there. It's not going to feel fun and warm in there.
Right. Why don't you let people buy bottles?
I just don't like that whole the like culture around that. It attracts a different, like I really always wanted it to feel like a house party, not like a nightclub with sparklers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that kind of takes you out of the disco house party vibe that I'm trying to create.
It also establishes hierarchy, which you don't really want at a
right.
party.
I don't want a million different VIP sections, VIP areas, back rooms, because then everyone walks in, they're always looking for another spot to go. Like everyone kind of just goes everywhere. When celebrities come, they literally dance in the middle with everyone else. Like no one is caring as much or looking around as much where you do at other places. You're always like, oh, who's in there, who's over there, where everyone really is coming to dance, which is nice. Sometimes it's really nice when I hear them say, oh, I just came from this like super, you know, I don't know, something that sounds super cool, but it's like at somewhere like nice, and they're like, everyone was just standing around looking at their phones, not socializing with each other. And like, it's so nice to just come here and just dance with everyone. No one cares what's happening.
Yeah. Right. It's egalitarian.
Yeah.
I hope that's the right word. Okay, my thesis on this, like I didn't really understand, but I guess like the trick to running a place like this that's good is never compromising in the short run for the long-term vision of the thing. And you want a friendly house party with nice people, and you're never willing to take quick money in order to compromise that.
Yes. Also, when you're new at something, or especially when you're a woman, there's lots of people telling you what they think and their advice and what you should do, you know, what you should do. And like constantly, like unsolicited advice from men constantly. And it's like, okay, then go open a place. Like, I don't, like always, you should do this, you know, you should have one of this, you should do this night. And it's like, very rarely is it something that seems like a good idea, but it's always something that isn't a good idea for what I want to do. I guess my message would be, no one knows what they're talking about. No one. Even the people that seem like they do, nobody knows what they're talking about. Nobody knows what they're doing. So just do what you want to do and try it out and learn from your mistakes. But no one knows anything. Like I see all these panels of experts talking about things, and it's like, no one knows what they're talking about. Like, I don't either. Don't take advice from everyone. Just kind of do your thing.
But do your thing. Yeah. Like the thing should become before.
And get a really good plumbers. That's important. You need lots of plumbers.
What's the deal with plumbers?
Well, if a bar or restaurant needs a plumber, it's not, you need it right now. Like, it's an emergency. So you have to call them and have them come right now. And so you need a bunch of numbers in your phone, because hopefully one of them will pick up and come right now. You can't just call one.
At all hours of the night?
Well, always at the worst time. Like, all the problems never happen on like Monday. Like, the internet doesn't go out on Monday. Pipes don't burst on Monday.
Right.
Saturday night, 11 o'clock.
How do you keep the staff happy throughout the night? Right? Like, I feel like that's like an issue that you get in a lot of busy bars, which is like later in the night, you order a drink. I mean, and the people are like, what the fuck you want?
Over the course of having this bar, there's been obviously people that have come and gone, and there's obviously issues that come up, or people that, if you're not going to be nice and you're angry working there, then like you just shouldn't work there. It's fine, but like you don't need to be dealing with people if you don't want to deal with people. But it's tough, because if 20 people are give you, like, you know, it's, if you get a bad tip or it happens, you never know. Obviously you want it to happen as least amount as possible.
Right.
But you know, sometimes the customer deserves it. Sometimes the customer's wrong. Actually, most of the time the customer's wrong.
And you think it's important to let the staff know that you got their back?
Most of the time, yes. I think it's totally different in restaurants. Like, it's really hard to implement. Like, you know, restaurants are always like, the customer's always right, blah, blah, blah. But like, you can't just kick out someone at a table. You can't kick out a table if they're being a dick. Like, I could kick someone out of the bar if they're being a dick. So that part's nice.
Are there any kind of non-traditional trainings that you do? Like,
it's a bar, so I don't have like crazy prep meetings the way like a restaurant would. Like, you're hosting a party, everyone's coming over to your house basically, and you know, you're nice to them, they're nice to you. But sometimes you gotta shine a flashlight in someone's eye because they're standing on top of a tiny little table that's about to fall over and climbing up on something else and grabbing onto, you know. People just really like to stand on things. if you are dancing, the higher you could be, the better. Like, they will stand on, like, so they used to always stand on my big sub speaker in the corner, and it used to be stressful because it's an expensive speaker. And then after a while, I can't stop them from dancing on the speaker. So I built a wood platform that goes over the speaker with a piece of carpet on top, and they dance on top of the speaker. Can't stop that. That's
Child-proof it.
Yeah. I mean, people want to be higher up. That's all.
Yeah.
There's a table, a platform, they're on it.
Old adage of nightclubs, like if there's a high space, people will climb on it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty, dancing on tables is what people want to do. I mean, but it's all, as long as they're, overall, people are great. I've met some amazing people. I get amazing messages from people being like, my birthday's always stressful. This was the best birthday I've ever had, or, like that was the best night of my life, which sounds like dramatic for a club, but like I get those messages and it's really nice. And that's the best part is like, I had an 80th birthday in there the other day, and she was with her family and she was raging. I had two 75-year-olds dancing on the bar one night, up on the bar.
Crazy.
Yeah. Or the parents will come with the kid. It'll be like 11, 10 o'clock, and they'll be like, we're only coming in for one drink, like one drink. And then at like 2:30 a.m., they walk out like drenched in sweat.
It's awesome.
They're just like, that was great. I'm like, yeah, glad you came.
What gave you the idea to lean into making it sort of old friendly?
My parents.
What
like
about
I like hanging out with them and partying with them, and it makes the kids kind of appreciate their parents, and they behave better. It makes the parents feel young, and like it's just nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people, when they see someone old dancing, they like love it, and they all like surround them.
Right.
Like I have this one little lady that was like, I haven't had this much fun since Studio 54, and she was like actually this like 75-year-old that was like, I haven't been dancing since Studio 54. Like, that's amazing. Love that.
And when did it become clear that your idea of wanting to have that space was actually a good business decision? Of making it sort of pro parents.
Well, it kind of always came along with I wanted it to be disco and oldies. I never wanted it to play like some show tunes.
At the beginning, when people were telling you this isn't a good idea, play cool music, were you ever like, did you ever have that thought like, fuck, maybe I should?
No. Because like, I don't know, the girls and the gays like it.
You never had a moment where you're like, oh, this was actually like a great idea?
Well, like as a whole, the bar in general.
Or just you're like me where you just like, yeah, it's going. Okay, tomorrow's another day.
No, I'm definitely extremely grateful and appreciative, especially post-COVID, because I didn't think that it would open again. And no, it doesn't get old. It's just, no, I get just excited to see a group of people walk in with their parents and then like, just chop it up with the parents about where they're from and what they're doing. It's cute. And then the dad always wants to like talk to me after and be like, you should open one of these in Wisconsin. I'm like, okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So then how important do you think it is, like you're there quite a bit, how important do you think it is for owners to be in there?
It's important, but also you want it to be able to function without you. It completely functions without me. It's better when I'm there, and it's every night when I'm there, like I have a totally different night, or I meet totally different people and end up having like really long conversations with people, or showing people things, or learning something about them. So those people would have gone, they would have had fun, but they wouldn't have met me, I wouldn't have met them, and then now they want to come back, they message me, they'll be excited that like they know the owner, and then they come back all the time. So it's like, it would have been fine if I'm not there, but so something always happens, or I meet or do something always where I'm like, oh God, good thing I was there. And so, of course, when I'm not, but it is what it is. There's, I've been out for long periods of time, and it's just,
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot of missed opportunities to meet people.
But it's fine, because they know that they understand the culture of the bar. And so do my regulars, which is really nice. Like my regulars will be the first people to, I'll see them carrying glasses out of the bathroom because they care about the bar. They don't need to do that. They don't work there. But if they go in the bathroom and there's a bunch of glasses in there, they'll bring them out and put them on the bar because they care about the bar. And I think that only happens when you create an environment that they feel so happy to be in, that they feel so comfortable there.
What are some things you've learned opening and operating this place? Like if you were to open, let's say, a restaurant or...
I wouldn't.
But what would you take away from
Landlord,
this training that you've gone through?
Build something or that you want to go to.
Yeah.
Like that's, I think, why a lot of people do things or open places, because there wasn't one and they wanted to go there. Like I wanted to go to a place like Joyface and kind of couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm. And like, besides the messages, are there moments where you think, Jen, like, well done?
Yeah, like when I meet someone or if I'm somewhere else or introduced to someone or whatever, and then my friend will be like, do you know Joyface? And they're like, yeah, I love Joyface. Like, that's really nice. Like, that started happening later on. Obviously, I didn't expect people to, people don't just know it. But now when I hear people do, it's still exciting every time, like, to hear that someone knows what it is or has been there or loves it. Like, one time, my grandma in Boca was having lunch with her friend and her friend's grandkid, and she said, where do you live? And she said, my grandma said, my granddaughter lives on the ABC streets. Do you know Joyface? And then the kid was like, oh my God, I love Joyface. I can never get in there. Can you help me get in? So my grandma calls me and was like, I need you to get
this kid
my friend's kid in. Yeah. So that happens, and that's cute. Like, my dad will randomly be like, you got to do me a favor. This guy's asking my friend from whatever, his daughter. I'm like, okay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And so are there any magical New York moment stories that have happened in the bar?
Oh, my favorite thing that happens which happens often, and I'm very grateful, is that we don't have a 4 a.m., we have a 3 a.m. So when the bar closes every night, it's full. And when they play the last song and we turn on the lights, everyone claps.
What?
And I think it's really, really awesome and nice. And it's like, if I had a 4 a.m., that wouldn't happen because people would slowly trickle out and it gets weird. And then it's weird in there. But it's full bar. Everyone's like so happy. And then we kick them all out. They clap and then they leave.
That is so important. I mean, people like that. I think that gets back to the main point, which is that everyone wants to squeeze every last drop of money out of people every night. And it's like, if people leave happy, they are so much more excited to go back.
Yeah. We stop serving at like 2:30 and 2:40. The lights go on, because I don't like it when you're like, everybody out, and you have like 1 minute to kick everyone out. So I like to let people find their bag and their jacket and call an Uber and talk, like, so they can go out a little less, like they're not being
transition out into the real world.
So the music stops like 2:40.
And what would you do if you got granted the gift of a 4 a.m.?
I don't think I would do it. I mean, once a year we get to see what it's like when we change the clocks.
DST.
And the staff, no one's happy. It's too long.
I love the transition moment. I love that people applaud.
Yeah,
I think that every
really nice.
business can take things from that too, right? Like,
it's so often when you go somewhere to do something, like you're chasing something later in the night, and like it's never good. Like, going to an afters or to after whatever. It's like you got to just end on a high note.
You have to end on a high note.
You end on a higher note, the night is remembered happier and better, and sometimes I'll even tell people that are like, oh, where are we going to go now? Where should we go? What's open? And I'm just like, why don't you go home and wash your face and put on your favorite lotion and order some pizza and go to sleep? Like, doesn't that sound great?
You'll say that to people?
Sometimes. If if they're like so drunk and like trying to go somewhere, I'm just like, you should go home.
If drinking is in decline, how do you make sure that you stay as profitable?
It's definitely an issue amongst Gen Z. They don't drink. Millennials and Gen X are all alcoholics. It's great. We do a party every Saturday, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Everyone's like 40, 50, 60. No problems there.
Okay.
It's the kids. Gen Z doesn't drink.
So how do you make sure the business?
It's been complicated, but we're figuring it out.
Maybe tickets or maybe.
Yeah, it's it gets tricky, but I might have to start doing that, like covers or it's okay, but you definitely feel it. Like I definitely feel it. Where without a doubt the older people drink more.
Have you tried selling vapes or ketamine?
I don't think I'm allowed. I definitely won't sell vapes. That's gross. But I don't sell any drugs, but I do understand why, places like Studio 54 and all
Got
those
into the
places
drug
had
business?
a huge business because, I'm not trying to get arrested or anything, but I can see why that happens.
One thing that I feel like is very iconic of Joyface is the fact that you drop the disco ball at midnight. I feel like often when I talk to people who are experience curators, like people who are smart about that kind of thing, they always say change scenery, change the sort of tone of the room. Was that conscious for you to do that?
So every night at midnight, we play the same song, and at the chorus of that song, we turn on the bright disco ball lights, fog machine lights, the other lights, and so, the night is kind of broken up into before midnight and after midnight. Like it looks and feels different in there after midnight. It really like kicks up a notch, and everyone's like just singing and jumping up and down. And at our early parties, we do that moment at 7. So that party's from 5 to 10.
Hell yeah.
We do that big moment at 7, and then at 10 it goes off again. Those people leave, new people come in, and
how did you stumble on this thing?
Well, I always knew like I needed a moment to do that. You don't just have it on when no one's in there. So in the beginning, I would wait until it was like crowded and busy and people, and then I always had like 2 songs that I used to put on. Like in the very beginning, I was experimenting a little with which songs would be good for like that have like a big moment in them. And then, so I used to do, in the very beginning, I did one of the songs on Friday and one of the songs on Saturday, and then there was a clear
winner?
Clear winner. Yeah, and it never gets old. I thought it would get old for 7 years, every night at midnight. Well, 5 because I was close.
COVID.
Yeah.
So if you were to open another club,
yeah,
would you do this exact same thing, or would you try to find a different like tone shift?
Depends on the type of club.
Have you thought
if
about
it's another Joyface? Yeah, they would have that.
Have you thought about other ways you could do that besides a giant disco ball dropping?
It could be any type of like thing where everyone's watching. Like even in a restaurant, if like someone goes around with like a cart and does something, or I was just at a club where like, I don't know, there's like a tap dancer on the bar. I sometimes have a sax player on the bar. Just something where everyone, or a drag queen, jump up and do a performance. Like just something that everyone's attention is turned to. Makes it more memorable.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.